Okay, folks, we mentioned it earlier. I have tested positive again, second time in the span of a couple of months, if that. COVID. So I've got COVID and I'm asymptomatic. Fortunately, I was able to fill out the registration form online and submit it. So hopefully, yeah, it'll all be fine. I'll get well. Oh, shit, I don't feel unwell. I'm one of those people that gets it asymptomatically. So the only thing that detects me getting sick is a test. So it flies beneath the radar, and it always takes a fucking rat test to show that I've got it. Really, really odd how this is the second time I've had asymptomatic COVID. But at least I'm not sick. At least I'm not holed up in bed. At least I'm not gasping for breath or feeling really unwell. I'm really fortunate that I'm one of those types that appears to get this condition asymptomatically. It's very strange, but it's true. It's asymptomatic. So we're just going to show you what this is. What's it got to do with COVID? It is another one of these rat tests. You can see the second line is faint, but apparently a faint second line does not preclude it from being positive. It is positive. That's what the instructions would say. That, yeah, even the slightest of fucking lines indicates that it's positive in this case. So we're just going to put it on the glass like so. We're going to make a positive out of a positive test. Negative as in not so good, but yeah, whatever, folks. But yeah, I get it so easily. I travel on buses a lot during the week when I go to work, and it's probably the most likely place I've picked up a fucking infection was on a bus. Now that's too dark, it's looking shit. It's too big anyway. Too small, the enlargement's not big enough. I think we might, this will be a tricky one to make look good. I'm going to move it away from the edge because I'm going to make another copy of it. So I'm just going to move it away. I want to make this look really nice. You know, something interesting out of something shitty. Yeah, I still wear a mask. I always wear a mask when I go out to try and prevent myself from getting COVID, but it doesn't seem to always work, and that's come up looking quite interesting, even though it's a bit boring. So yeah, it doesn't seem to matter that I'm wearing a mask and I'm trying to, well, it's impossible to socially distance on a bus most of the time, to try and stay away from those people, the majority almost, who don't wear masks. You don't have to wear a mask anymore. They've eased off the mask wearing restrictions on public transport, much to my frustration. But you know, what can you do? You know, wearing a mask isn't fun. A lot of people find it hard to breathe, and I know what you mean. I've had problems breathing in those things too, especially on a hot day. So they're not nice. Masks are not fun. But they do offer some protection, and I really get annoyed that I can't socially distance on a bus, however much I really want to. I try my best, but you know, you sit down and then someone there hasn't got a mask, and then someone here doesn't have a mask. It's like, fuck me dead. You get checkmated every time. You just can't win. You just can't avoid getting near people without a mask. Even when the rules were still in place, people were not obeying the rules. So And I feel sorry for those people who I'm going to use a white sheet of paper for this. I'm really concerned for people who are basically like what they call immunocompromised. People who, if they catch COVID, they might end up in hospital or dead. And yeah, we've almost forgotten this disease does kill. But you know, it's a bit difficult trying to weigh up the pros and cons of things, whether to keep the rules in play and whether not. It's hard to. That looks really a lot better with a nice background. I do want to make this into something really nice, even though it looks like it's going to be a real boring minimalist piece, to be honest, folks. I'm going to make it really dark. I'm going to darken this one up to make it more interesting to turn into a negative image. Negative as in the image, not the test result, folks. But I'm really, yeah, I guess you can't stay with restrictions forever. You've got to lift them. Unfortunately, you have to. You can only just, yeah, that looks really quite interesting. I do think we could do it darker. Doesn't look like it's any darker than the last one I just did for some reason. I don't know why. That's odd. But at least I don't have to self-isolate for any more than 5 days. So I don't have to self-isolate for the full 7 days, which is freedom for me, because I can't do my laundry. For example, I can't do my laundry because my laundry is shared. So you can't share laundry. Oh, that looks even better. They're actually thinking of lifting. I just remembered they're thinking of lifting the self-isolation rules soon. So basically, yeah, I won't have to self-isolate, hopefully, next time I get this shitty fuck-up disease. Now, I wonder what we can do here to make it darker. I'm going to make it dot matrix and see what happens, because I really want to make this into a really nice little demo. It's probably going to be prolongated, I'd say. Yeah, that looks all too much like it's in the black and white. So this version here was the printed photo text, and this one is the dot matrix. So I think we're going to run with this. This has got more colour. This is a little bit too black and white, too much like a black and white image. So we're going to run with this. I'm just going to switch off dot matrix and just put it back there. But yeah, there's all sorts of shit going around about COVID and all the shit that it represents. I do have to dispose of that and make sure I don't contaminate anything with it. So we're going to utilise this and make it into a negative image. I don't know how this is going to turn out, if it's going to be any good. It's going to be a little bit on the minimalist side, but if I can turn it into a negative colour image, I'm hoping that maybe it'll look really nice. With all the shadows and that on it. Yeah, that looks better than the original version, except we've got problems with the toner becoming like bubbled. I really hate it when that happens with the toner. It's really awful and ugly. But apart from that, I like the colour in that. I do think maybe we might lighten it up a bit. I've got a gut feeling we might be running it too dark. So we're just going to run it a bit light. I don't know why we've got so much bubbling. Sometimes it does that. I think the paper might be damp. It might be damp paper that's causing this effect. And this looks a lot better anyway. It's a little bit bubbled, but I think it has a lot to do with heavy toner. But it's not what it's supposed to be. It shouldn't be like that. But it looks, the colours look quite nice. It's not as good as I was hoping it would be, but yeah. I do think we can lighten it up a bit. I'm going to leave it on dark there. That's a lot better. There's less of that bubbling as well of the toner. I do wonder if maybe a background colour could add a bit of contour to some of the otherwise bland looking image. So we're going to just maybe add another colour to it. Going to add a background colour. I don't know how that's going to work. Yeah, there's not much, doesn't seem to make any difference, this background colour of this image. Don't think we're going to have much joy with the background colour. I think we're going to just take it out and try again. We're going to make it just like this image, this last image we output, so I'm just going to switch off that background colour, which is the aquamarine. Switch it off, we don't need it or want it. But I figured I'd have a bit of fun with this this COVID positive result. Something different, something a bit funny, without being too funny. It's not a fucking joke, really, folks. For those people who get sick and get violently ill, this is not a fucking laughing matter. This is not something that people can take lightly when they end up getting violently ill with this COVID. I don't think I'm doing this the right way. I do wonder if maybe I could enlarge it bigger off the edge. But yeah, it's really difficult for some people because they just get so sick and they just can't get over it easily. They just get sick and they end up on a ventilator, or they end up on a bloody ventilator, or they end up gasping for breath. It's really not easy for these people who have to deal with the harshness of it all. You know, really difficult to deal with when you're immunocompromised or you've got some underlying sickness. that makes you so weak, easily makes COVID into a big disaster or a potential one. And then of course you've got this condition called long COVID, and that's another story again. Now that one looks interesting. You've still got a lot of black in play. I was just taking out some of the black, and I also enlarged it a bit bigger. This is going to be how we're going to display it, like that. But basically, yeah, some people just can't tolerate COVID. They just can't tolerate it. I'm so grateful, folks, that I don't have that problem. That I'm one of the lucky ones, in inverted commas. I don't believe in luck, folks. I don't know why I use that word. I hate the word lucky. It just really annoys the shit out of me, folks. But basically, I'm one of the fortunate ones whose body can obviously take COVID. Know that it doesn't seem to affect. I think it might be because I have been vaccinated 4 times. I've been quad vaxxed, so that could be another reason why I'm not showing any actual symptoms. Now that looks interesting, but it looks shithouse. I do like this version better. It looks less black, but it looks mostly black, but at least it looks better than that. But basically, yeah, it's like I don't show much in the way of symptoms. I haven't felt any symptoms today. I think even last time I had a slight feeling that I had COVID the day before, but basically this time I just didn't feel it at all. It just crept up on me. But of course I got to consider others, and I think the rules, I'm not sure, they're still, I was told at work that they're going to give us the rules about COVID, about self-isolation later on when they finally talk about it, and that's come up looking better. I think that would look good. Like, I work in a what's called an ADE, which is an Australian Disability Enterprise. And it might be that people who are disabled and working, or places where disabled people are, and elderly and all that sort of stuff, you may still have to stay away from the workplace. You may not be able to come to work, as is what I've done as a precaution, because I don't know the rules. I haven't been told the rules to do with the ADE, whether I can still come to work or not. But they are tossing around that they don't expect that people are going to be needing to self-isolate, but don't quote me on that, folks. I've only just heard. So, but it's not going to be, in my opinion, it's not going to be good for those who are immunocompromised or otherwise sick, who can't tolerate COVID. This is a really prolongated demo. I don't think this demo is going to be all that good, even though the colours look quite interesting. It looks a bit minimalist, but I wanted to try and make something out of this, trying to turn a negative situation, not COVID response, result, into a positive, into a good thing. So, just got those mirrored pieces. This is going to be a tricky one. Basically, I'm really concerned for those people whose bodies cannot tolerate COVID, or people who are going to end up contracting COVID, long COVID. And yeah, anyway, that's come up looking quite nice. I think the colour patterns make it look better. I think we can now call this demo quits.